Good day and welcome to another episode of Drew's Book Reviews. Today we're going to talk about Breach of Peace by Daniel Greene. So if you want to know my thoughts on Daniel Greene's debut novella, short story. I don't know what you'd call this, it's pretty short. Anyway, if you want to know my thoughts on it, stay tuned, that's coming right up on Drew's Book Reviews. Right, so today we're going to be talking about Breach of Peace by Daniel Greene. Now, before I get into my thoughts of Breach of Peace, make sure that you hit that like button and subscribe. You can join me over on the Discord. You can also join me down on Instagram. I'll have that linked below. So Daniel Greene, Breach of Peace. Seems like everybody in the booktube community has already read and reviewed this book but me, so I'm a bit behind. But you know what? I'm behind on everything because booktube is such a great community. I've got so many books on my list from the booktube community, so that's okay. But anyway, Daniel Greene, if you don't already know, he's a really big name in the booktube community. Definitely go check his channel out. He's got some great content. He is a first-time author. This is his first published book, Breach of Peace. Actually, I'll link Daniel's channel down below so that you can go directly there, or you could just, search his name on YouTube. He'll come up. But anyway, this is his debut novel. It is the first in a book series that he is writing called The Lawful Times. So this book is basically set in this empire that, just the way it was talked about, and I can't really say it's an evil empire, but I can't really say it's a good empire. It definitely has that dystopian feel, but at the same time, there's seems to be this setting, or at least that's the impression that I got, is that there's this idea that the emperor is definitely doing his best to take care of his people as well. But not everybody's happy in this empire. And the basic precept behind this book is that Inspector Cleed gets called in on this murder investigation of this entire family. The investigation eventually leads to being involved in some pretty crazy, nasty business as she tries to investigate this crime and figure out what's going on, why this is happening, where it's all leading to. So for a debut novel, for a first in a self-published book series by Daniel Greene, I would have to say it's not bad. It definitely wasn't perfect. The reviews on this so far seem to have been kind of mixed reviews in a lot of ways. So some good, some bad, that kind of thing. Definitely, I would say that Breach of Peace is a much more plot-driven story than a character-driven story. I didn't really, feel connected to the characters themselves. I did enjoy the story overall. A plot-driven story can be a good thing for sure. I'm definitely more of a character reader. I enjoy great characters and character-driven stories over plot-driven stories typically. But this book was really way too short, I think, to be able to really establish the world and get much into the world building. There's definitely some world building going on in this. I'm not even sure what to classify this. Is it fiction? Is it not fiction? It doesn't seem to take place in our world. So is it fantasy? But there doesn't really seem to be much as far as a magic system involved. Definitely doesn't feel like a historical fiction, but it does feel like it's a world with a stage of development that would be like sometime in the mid 1800s maybe of Earth. So it's kind of hard to say what category this book actually falls into as far as genre goes. So, I'll just call it a historical fiction genre, historical alternative fantasy book. I don't know, because it doesn't really seem to be much in the way of a magic system, at least not thoroughly established. There's definitely some weird stuff going on with this, stuff that I really like, which I don't really want to get into just in case you haven't read it, but definitely some things where I'll just say people are changing. And that in and of itself, the way it's described in this, definitely does make for an interesting story-driven character. Definitely more plot-driven. I did enjoy that within this book. I just wish there was more world building. I wish there was more character development within this book, which, as I've been watching Daniel Greene's channel, he's actually mentioned a few things where he's listened to the feedback that people who have read this have given, both the positive and negative reviews, and that he's wanting to put more into his next book. He expects his next book to be a bigger book, more focused on some of the things that I'm mentioning. So I'm really looking forward to that. I definitely enjoyed this enough to continue on with The Lawful Times. I didn't think it was an absolutely terrible read by any means. I believe, again, 3 stars I gave it on Goodreads. Now, there is one aspect of this book that just really threw me off the story. I was like, what? Why is that even there? And if you've read the book, you probably know, but it's a scene. There's one particular scene at a brothel in this book, and there's just one line when one character runs out of the room, and how he's described and what's described while he's running out of the room. Now, if you have read the book, you probably know what I'm referring to, and I don't know. The character is just running out of the room and how he's described, and it just threw me off the story so quick. Because like, what the hell? That doesn't belong there. It didn't feel authentic. It didn't feel like it fit, and it definitely did not feel like it was purposeful. There seemed to be no point in mentioning that particular state or condition that he was in. Or I don't know if I'm describing it very well, but the point is, if you read the book, you probably know what I'm referring to. If you haven't, you know, you'll know when you get to that point. But it is very, very short read and quick read. I read it in one sitting. So I sat down, I read it in like less than 2 hours. So it was really quick read. It was definitely an entertaining read. Like, I enjoyed the story, I enjoyed the mystery behind it. It really felt like a setup for bigger things to come. Definitely more of a setup for sure. It definitely did not feel like a fully fleshed out story by any means. And it really kind of felt like, and the best way to put it is a trailer for a bigger series. You're getting these little tidbits, you're getting the setup in there, so you kind of know what's happened, but you don't really know what it's eventually going to lead to. But overall, those are my thoughts of Breach of Peace by Daniel B. Greene. It was okay, it was good, it wasn't terrible, and it wasn't great. It'll be interesting to see how his next book does and where it goes from there. I'll probably look at buying the next book in the Lawful Times. Like I said, I did enjoy this, and I expect that his writing will get better. At least I hope that it does, because if this is where it stays, probably wouldn't continue to buy his books. But as long as he is getting better with each successive book, and I hope that he does, I'll continue to do so. I did overall enjoy the story, but I definitely want to see more character development in the next one. Hopefully, fingers crossed, maybe some more world development as well. But overall, those are my thoughts on Breach of Peace by Daniel B. Greene. So again, if you want to know more, if you want to keep seeing these book review videos, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. You could also join me over on Discord, where we could have a chat about this and other books as well. And you could also follow me on Instagram. That will be linked below. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, keep on reading. Bye.